much more here today to talk to Don Charlton, who is leading up Kommute. And we're very interested to hear about this exciting company that he's building up and learning more about his path as a founder and a CEO. So, Don, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's great to be here. I appreciate it.
Very good. So maybe give us a quick overview about Kommute in your own words. What is it all about?
Got it. I mean, really, what Commute is we think it's the future of workplace communication. So think of Commute as really being a business-to-business video messaging platform, and that's just a fancy way of saying we make it really easy for anyone to record and instantly share a video. But in addition to that video, they can include sort of what is akin to an email, and also they can attach interactive widgets that do everything from help you schedule meetings to share files and so forth. So it's really just, to me, we think that in between a face-to-face conversation and an email is an optimal way to communicate. And we think we found it. We call it video messaging.
Very interesting. Also a very timely period of history to building such a product like that at the very moment. So maybe tell us something interesting about the company. How many clients do you have, or how many visitors, a price that you want? Maybe just to give people a quick bit of an overview about the company.
Got it. Yeah. So we launched over this summer. So we probably have maybe a couple hundred people using the platform at this point. We just sort of started and that's why I'm doing this. We just started really promoting the platform. The use cases are everything from people who are in customer support who will record a video and then attach their calendar. So if you're doing account management, you can tell someone, hey, if this answers your question, great. Otherwise, just grab some time on my calendar. That's a really efficient way of communicating. What was the other part of your question?
Yeah, just I think sort of you mentioned it already, kind of like, how many people are using it, the traffic to the page. So if you gave us a nice overview.
Yeah, I think we're if you really kind of think about it right now, we've sort of identified our ideal customer profiles, and we're trying to figure out how do we sort of rapidly scale getting those types of people to start using the platform. So we just started that over the course of the summer, and it's been interesting so far because this is a new way of communicating. It's really we're gonna need a lot of people to help us kind of understand what are some of the core use cases that we can really sort of blow out, here over time.
Very good. Yeah, I was actually about to ask that. How would you describe like the typical person that would be using the product as of today? Probably it's going to be evolving, but as of today.
Yeah. So obviously, I think in the long run, we think that a video message it's a more efficient and more effective way to communicate for everyone. But in the near term, there's really kind of two audiences that we've identified, and they're people that we call hyper communicators and hyper collaborators, right? So these are people who on the hyper communicator side, their day entails them needing to make sure that they quickly and effectively communicate with a large number of people. So think of that as sort of like customer support people who work at, where they're doing support that's highly visual, such as like a software company and so forth. Or outbound, let's say SDRs who are constantly reaching out to people to try to schedule meetings, record a message, try to get someone to schedule something on your calendar right from that same video. And then the hyper collaborators, these are people who, in order to do their job, they're constantly relying on tight-knit communication between them and other people on their team. So we think about, the intersection between a product team and an engineering team, where it's a lot of highly visual things, a lot of information and work product being shared. So those are really kind of like the two areas that we're looking for early adopters, basically just the people who are just constantly needing to communicate and basically are trying to find ways to do that without as many meetings.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So what would you say as of right now would be sort of the top, acquisition channel? How do you find those type of hyper communicators, or how do you get them to start using the product?
Yeah, well, I think, one thing that's beneficial about our product is we're trying to create basically a viral loop, right? Because if you send one out, somebody receives it and so forth, right? So I'd say that, we're still kind of really looking for what the right channels are, this is my second startup, when you're very, very early, you're always going to start off with your friends and your family and so forth, right? Just colleagues on LinkedIn and so forth. And that's how we got maybe our first 100 users and so forth, right? And then they're sharing it with other people as well. So that's one of the things that we're excited about, is the fact that inherent in our platform is virality, right? And some other things that we do are our strategy is, I mentioned that we have integrations with our product, right? So like we integrate with everything from like Calendly to if you need to embed like an Airtable form and so forth. So what we think is, let's try to find products that have 1 million plus users that love that product
Yep.
and present to them the first video enabled use case. So we're actually in the process right now of partnering with Calendly to present a video-enabled use case to their 6 million users or so, right? With the pitch being something like, if you love Calendly for scheduling meetings, hey, here are some different ways that you can combine a video and your Calendly widget for more effective communication to achieve certain goals like scheduling meetings and so forth.
Very good. Makes a lot of sense. What would you say, what role does the website play at the moment at this point in time?
Well, I mean, I'd say the website, it's through and through. It's what we need. We're a company that's going to be focusing on product-led growth, right? So the first thing first goal of our website is, we're really sort of evangelizing this new form of communication called video messaging. So the website's role is to really kind of like step you through, well, what is a video? Like, what am I doing when I send a video message? Right. And we know that we're going to have to do that because, imagine the first time somebody said send an email, right? You're going to have to explain what that really meant. It's where people go to sign up for a platform, right? So basically, we think of the goals of a website are obviously to facilitate sign up, but also to really kind of give you a high level overview of what video messaging is. And I think the most important thing that we're trying to do is we're really going to start to build out some example use cases. Right, so people can really kind of get their imagination going for how they can leverage this new form of communication.
Very good. For everybody who's listening in and who's interested in those, you can head to kommute.com/use-cases. It's with a K, Kommute. Very good. Okay, talking about the website, what would you say is one of the major strengths of the website? Is it the ability to convert people and let them start using it? Or is it sort of, the quality of the people that you're getting in, that they're maybe spreading it internally? Or is it the actual user experience on the page? Like, where do you see the strength from the website at the very moment?
Yeah, well, I think the strength that we have right now is I think that and we struggled with this for a while, right? Is that because we're balancing both educating people on basically a new form of communication, while at the same time trying to facilitate them to get started, right? So there's we're trying to be an educational website without having the person feel like they're reading a whole lot of copy and so forth. So I think what we do a really good job of is just kind of quickly explaining to you what the core value of the product is while describing how to send a video message. Like if you look at our homepage, we just step through what you do when you create a video message, and inherent in that, we're also describing the value of the product, we think. So.
Very good, very interesting. And where do you see is maybe sort of the major room for improvement at the moment?
Oh, on our website? Well, I'd say for one thing, we got to get the sign up process down to, one form field. And also, we're going to be implementing, we do have sign up with Slack, but we need to do sign up with Google as well, just to kind of like, remove all the friction. Our use cases section needs to be a little bit more blown out. We don't have any links right now to actual sample video messages, so people can quickly see this is what a video message really looks like without you just kind of looking at our screenshots. So, I think the design's good, but I think that there's a lot of work for us to do in terms of like really making what it feels like to receive a video message resonate with the people that visit our website.
Very, very good. Okay, cool. So I'm curious to look a little bit behind the curtains as much as you allow, obviously. Maybe you can tell us a little bit how are sales and marketing structured at the moment?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, for the most part, it's a very, very small team, right? So the way it's structured is that everybody's wearing multiple hats. But I think, really to kind of think about it this way, our funnel is really, from a marketing perspective, our first goal above all is to really try to find some early partners who that we're integrated with, that really like our video enabled use case and want to evangelize that to all of their users, right? So we're very much focused on, let's just try to find one big company that we can partner with. And I think Calendly is going to be one of those ones that we start with, right? So that's a lot of what our core marketing focus has been on. I think another piece that we also think a lot about is the fact that, describing what we are. This has been a little bit of a challenge for us, right? Like trying to figure out how to describe a video, what a video message is, because everybody says it's dangerous to have to be educating someone on the market, right? And our sales process, this is going to be your classic, what do you call it, bottom up strategy, where it's all about getting that one product person in an organization to start using the platform, right? Because we're self-service. Try to create a critical mass within an organization, and then we will have some top-down people that are going to be basically trying to come in and say, hey, look at your product and engineering team, your sales and marketing team are working together asynchronously. Why don't we talk about a bulk offering, or not a bulk, but basically an enterprise sale.
Quick follow-up on what you just mentioned, because I think it's very interesting. You mentioned it might be dangerous to have to educate the market.
Yeah.
And what's your take on that?
Well, I think it all depends on how much time you have, right? Because I think my last company was in recruiting, and I remember when I started it, small businesses, they didn't know that you could use software to recruit online. They weren't posting jobs online, so there were a lot of things that people had to start to view as being possible before they would even start looking for applicant tracking systems, which is what the space we were in. Right now, video messaging is really kind of like, there's some companies that are using the phrase, but it's pretty new. Right. So, we believe that once we believe at some point in the future, video messaging is going to be commonplace. Right. But in between now and then is time, and the resources we have to be able to get to that future is going to be based on how fast we can educate early adopters. Like, I'm a big believer in this concept that I call evangelism turning into commercialism. So we got to get those early people who understand what video messaging is. They start to evangelize the value of video messaging and also use the product with people. And then that basically starts to create a groundswell of just, continued adoption and so forth. And then we'll look up one day and the idea that recording a video, typing in some notes and adding some links, and then attaching, a DocuSign for someone to sign is going to be, just something we do every single day.
Awesome. Very good. So let's switch gears a little bit and learn a little bit about yourself as a leader in the company, because you already also mentioned, obviously, you've been involved in other startup before. So maybe tell me a little bit about what type of content do you consume? How do you educate yourself? How do you stay up to date?
I got it. Yeah. So my love is products. I'm a product person at heart, right? So there's I have this kind of quirky thing. I just love to go, I don't like to read the news in the morning. To me, it's like, especially nowadays, it's a little too negative and so forth. So I'll actually get on product hunt in the morning because I'm always looking for new products and so forth, right? And I kind of combine my education in terms of what I consume into a couple different buckets. One, it's about kind of like video, the space that I'm in, right? I need to basically kind of learn what's out there and so forth. The second is just what are cool products, because you never know. You might be looking at an app for children, right, that just launched, but that might give you an idea for your product, right? And then I think the last thing that I really kind of look for is, I've become very interested in product-led growth right now. So just really kind of thinking about what are some of how do I create a framework around what we prioritize in our roadmap that's focused on our early goals of basically early adoption and virality and so forth. Yep. So, hyper focus on a lot of things related to the business. So.
Very good. Okay, since we're slowly coming to an end of the interview, I would like to jump into our rapid fire questions. It's only, short questions and very crisp short answers. Are you ready for those?
Yep, I am.
Very good. What's the last book you read?
Atomic Habits.
Very good. What's one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
New signups.
Mm-hmm. If there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be one thing that you would want to fix today for your company?
These are short answers, but they're hard questions. I would want to fix awareness.
Maybe you can elaborate just a little bit.
Our ability to broadcast that we exist, right? Our ability to let people know that we exist. Our reach, our marketing reach.
Very good. What's the last thing that kept you awake at night about the company?
I would say the COVID. So I actually started the company before COVID. right? And I was actually thinking about this before, how we were going to basically not get drowned out by all the noise around video and so forth.
Yep, yep. Makes a lot of sense. Interesting, actually, interesting angle to think about it because you might think on the first place there's a lot of benefits, but there's
Yeah.
also very interesting. Cool. Very last question. What is one advice that you would give yourself? You know, if you think back to the day maybe when you started Jess HR, when you started working there, the very first day
Uh,
you stepped out there, starting building companies. What would be one advice that you would give yourself?
I think that I would probably tell myself that celebrate even a little bit of traction. Like, don't be so hard on yourself. Like whenever you have a journey of a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, right? And going from 0 to 10 million or whatever, right? It requires you to get that first customer. So I think for me, it was more like celebrate the $49 a month customer, celebrate only adding $500 in the first couple months and so forth, right?
Mhm.
Like, because I think that those are clear building blocks towards success, right? As opposed to thinking we're not growing fast enough.
Yep, very, very interesting. Don, I really appreciate that you took the time and walked us through your company. Thanks a lot for being on the show with us today. I want to give you the last word. So if somebody forgets everything we spoke about in the interview today, what is one thing they should be remembering about Kommute?
I think that they should try sending a video message to someone
Mhm.
just today. Just try it one time, and I think you'll get it. You'll get it.
Very good. Thanks a lot for being part of the show.
All right. Thanks a lot.